afternoon. Thank you all for joining me today for this live stream where I'm going to be doing a mini workshop on the top 3 exercises to melt away back pain. So if you're joining me today, please let me know where you are tuning in from. Today, I'll be talking about why these are my top 3 exercises when it comes to back pain, and I will be teaching you how to do them. So you're going to want to grab a yoga mat or somewhere where you can lie down. There is also going to be a downloadable PDF that you can use to follow along with the exercises that I'm going to be teaching you today, and so that you can also do them after this live stream, and that way you'll be able to remember them. So if you want that PDF, go ahead and pop in the chat PDF below, and I will send that over to you through the instant messenger. And these exercises, they are designed to target some of the physical causes that may be contributing to your back pain. But of course, there is no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to pain, but these are movements that address the most common physical reasons linked to this type of discomfort, right? So, the top 3 reasons I've found why people struggle with back pain is lack of mobility. There's just not enough movement and the right type of movement in the spine, the right movement in the joints. There's lack of stability and strength. And there's also lack of fluidity. And when I say that, I am referring to the fascia. Our fascia is the connective tissue. It basically encapsulates all of our muscles, and we want it nice and lubricated and juicy so that our muscles can slide and fire the way that they are meant to. And so these are the top 3 reasons why I have discovered over my 20 years of teaching this work, why people experience back pain. So I just wanted to give you these 3 targeted exercises today. And, of course, not all pain is purely physical. Sometimes discomfort is connected to things like negative self-talk. I did a live stream on this a few months ago. It's sometimes connected to inflammation and our diet. What are we putting into our bodies? And also our subconscious beliefs about ourselves and about our body, which I have also done a number of live streams on. And so this is why in my 4-month program, we go much deeper into these layers, into the mind-body connection, so that we can really address the core, the root reason as to why you may be experiencing these symptoms or this pain in your body. So I'll share more about that at the end of this live stream today. But in these live streams and in this session today, I offer just a sliver of my group program, a sneak peek into what's possible when we begin to move differently, when we begin to think differently, and believe in our body's ability to heal itself. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and pop on in here. And if you are joining me today, let me know where you are joining me from. I'd love to just kind of get to know folks in this group a little bit better and just get a sense of where everyone is coming from. So I'm just going to open up my chat here to make sure I can see what is going on in the group. Okay, so what I want you to do, if you're following along with me right here live, or if you are joining me on the replay, go ahead and grab your yoga mat or something that you can lie down on. It's comfortable for you. And if you like to have a pillow when you're lying down on your back, then you can go ahead and grab that. Okay, so great. So the first one we're going to start with, we're going to go ahead and lie down on our backs. Okay, so go ahead and do that with me here. And just take a moment here as you're lying down, taking a few long, deep breaths. Just breathing in through the nose, out the mouth. And just really allow your body to be heavy as you are lying here on your mat. Okay, so the exercise we're going to do here is a pelvic tilt. And the reason why this exercise is so helpful and so supportive when it comes to back pain is it's basically connecting the brain to the core. And it's also helping to lengthen the tissues in the lower back. Okay, so what I want you to do is take a breath in, and then as you exhale, just start to gently press your back down towards the mat. So there's very little space now between your back and the mat, right? And it's kind of like you're squishing a little blueberry under your back. And as you do that, feel those muscles lengthening and stretching there. Draw your abdominal wall in, and then you're just going to relax. Allow your tailbone to roll into the mat. And now we're creating just a natural space under the back. It's not a huge arch. It's not a very big movement. Again, it's like that little blueberry space under the back. And we're going to do that a couple times with the breath. So as you exhale, you're going to activate your abdominals, draw your abdominal wall in. And on the inhale, you're going to make a little arch. So that now you're creating just that little blueberry space under your back. Again, you're going to exhale, gently press your back towards the mat as you draw your abdominals to your spine. And inhale to create that little space under your back. So if you feel any pain while doing this movement, or maybe discomfort in your back or your SI joint, then of course, go ahead and make that movement a little bit smaller. And it could actually be barely even visible, like where you're just drawing the abdominals in and then relaxing. So just even doing that part would be really supportive to activate your core and to support your spine, lengthen those tissues in the back of your body a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and just do that one more time. So we're going to exhale, draw the abdominals in, sink your back gently towards the mat. Make sure you're not over gripping in your legs, your hip flexors, all these muscles here. You can even bring your hands there, feel those muscles, see if you can keep them nice and soft, and then relax. Very good. Okay, so how's this exercise feeling for you all so far? I'm just going to go ahead and see if I can pull this up here in the chat. And good. So let's go ahead and go on to the next exercise that we're going to do, which is going to be on your hands and on your knees. So go ahead and roll yourself up. Okay, and as you're ready, go ahead and make your way onto your hands and knees. So if this is uncomfortable, on your wrists, there's a couple options for you. You could be down on your forearms here instead. You can still do this exercise here. Okay. And there's another way we could do this just in standing. If it's not at all feasible for you to get down on the floor, you could just follow the spinal movement that we're going to be doing in standing. Okay, so you're here. We call this a neutral spine. So it's just where you have one straight line from your head to your tail. The pelvis is untucked. You take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, you're just going to gently push into your arms and round your spine into a cat back shape. Okay, so I'm just really doming my back like a VW bug. That's the shape, stretching the muscles in my back. And then I'm going to gently return to neutral. So if you know cat-cow, this isn't a cat cow. It's just the cat part of it. And then we're coming back to neutral. So let's do that a couple more times. As you exhale, you're going to hollow out the abdominals, round your spine, push down into your arms, and lift your middle of your back up towards the ceiling. So if your spine was a mountain, the peak of the mountain, the apex would be about the middle of your spine, and come back to neutral. So we're doing this for mobility. And the reason why this is really good for that is, again, it helps to stretch out those long muscles that go down the spine that often get tight and short with sitting or with poor posture, or if you have an excessive arch or curve in your back, this really helps with that. Okay, so you can also just explore in this movement. You can create more of kind of a ripple through the spine to get more movement there in your spine if that feels good. You can shift forward and back from the knees to the hands. So there's a lot of different variations that you can add on from this cat position to articulate your spine. Okay. And we're just going to add one more little nuance to this, and you can play around with it. You're just going to try to kind of tuck your tail first, go into that cat back one vertebrae at a time. So like you're really isolating each individual vertebrae, kind of like a wave that's cresting up and over. And then you're going to gently unfurl the spine and return to that flat back or that neutral back position. Okay, so let's try that again. You're going to tuck and curl and think about kind of rippling through the spine, around the back, and then come out of it again, head first, collarbones lift, chest lifts, and gently return to neutral. And again, if that's uncomfortable in your back, then you can try making it a little bit smaller so that you're not feeling any pain there. Okay, very nice. How did that feel? Let me know in the comments below how that one felt in your body. And these exercises may seem pretty simple, but if you typically don't do, if these exercises are not in your usual routine, if you just try these 3 exercises and do them every day, which should only take you like 5 minutes, then I think you're going to notice a big difference in the way that your body feels, the way your back feels, the way your spine feels, and some of that stiffness that you may feel in the morning, or maybe pain that you feel at night when your body's tired and your muscles are kind of achy and hurting. This is a great thing to do before you go to sleep or right when you wake up. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and come on up to standing for this next one. If I can adjust my camera a little bit so you can see me, my whole body view. Okay, so this next one we're going to work on is a squat, and I'm going to first tell you why squatting is so good for your back, and then I'm going to explain how to do this properly so that it doesn't tweak anything or hurt your knees or your back, okay? So the reason why squatting is one of these 3 exercises and why it's so good for back pain is because, first of all, it's a primal movement that our bodies were designed to do, right? We were designed to squat throughout the day when we go to the bathroom or when we, come down to pick something up, play with our kids. Our bodies were designed to squat. And when we squat, what it does is it helps to strengthen the pelvic floor muscles in a more functional way, in a more natural way, um, rather than doing a Kegel, which I disagree with as a good pelvic floor strengthening exercise for everybody, because it would just be like you're sitting there doing like a squeezing your bicep and releasing it, squeezing your bicep and releasing it. You might get a little bit more tone doing that, but it's not a very functional exercise. You're not going to feel much stronger, right, after doing that. So that's basically what a Kegel is. We can get into that in another live stream. If you want to go more into pelvic floor health, we can. Let me know in the comments below. But what I wanted to say today is that one of the best functional ways that you can strengthen your pelvic floor is through squatting. And also, it's going to strengthen your glutes, your hip muscles. It's going to help you work on balance and control. And also, if you're doing it with the core activation I'm going to teach you, it's also going to help to functionally strengthen your core and also kind of prepare your body for when you go to pick up a heavy object. Now you know how to bend with proper biomechanics where it's not going to tweak anything or hurt your back as you do it. And you'll know how to properly brace and use your core when you go to do that movement or when you go to pick up something. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how to properly do a squat. So there's a lot of variations, as you probably have seen with squatting. Some people do it narrow, some people do it really wide. You could do external rotation, you could do single leg. There's a lot of different ways you could do this. Okay, so what I like to teach people first as their as the first squat that they learn how to do is a kind of more neutral position, which is where your feet are directly under your hip sockets. Okay, and so for most people, our hip sockets are pretty narrow. So when you're thinking about hip distance apart, it's actually about a fist for most people between their feet, or a little bit wider, but it's actually pretty narrow, more narrow than you might think. And the reason why is because that's going to make it really easy on you to come down and to track your knees right over your hips. Sorry, your knees right over your toes so that your hips, knees, and toes are all lined up. If you do a wide squat, for a lot of people, it's really hard to figure out where your knees are in relationship to your hips, right? And so what most people do is they knock knee. And so if you're doing squats and it hurts your knees, it might be because your legs are too wide, you're not tracking the knees properly, okay? And of course, if you do feel pain doing squats with me today, then just omit them. And we could also do a whole nother live stream on squats as well and how to properly do them in different variations that you could try. But what I'm going to suggest doing is if you have a pillow, a like small Pilates ball or a yoga block, go ahead and grab that as well. If you don't have one, don't worry about it. You don't have to have one. But what you're going to do is take that and place that between your knees. Okay. So it could be your ball here or a pillow. And what that's going to do is it's going to help you to track your knees with your hips and ankles, right? So the joints really like to be lined up, and especially the knees, they like to kind of just be straight because it's a hinge joint, so they don't like to twist. So the reason why a lot of people injure their knees is because the knees don't like to twist, but the hips do like to twist. So that's another benefit of doing these squats is that we're learning how to move from the hip joints rather than the back, right? So if everything you're doing is coming from your low back, each time you bend over, you're shearing those vertebrae basically. And that's where we could injure ourselves, herniate a disc, things like that. So as much as possible, we want to learn how to do these squats hinging at the hips. Okay. I just made a YouTube short on this yesterday. If you want the YouTube short that shows you in about 30 seconds how to do this, then you can comment short below. I'll send you the link to that YouTube video. But what it basically says is exactly what we're talking about today, which is how to hinge into your hips as you come down so that you're squatting from your hips, not from your back. So one of my teachers always said, ducky butt, not tucky butt. And what that means is that when you're bending down, instead of tucking under, which is really common, you want to think about you have ducktail feathers, right? And you're showing off your ducktail feathers. You're lifting them up every time you go down into your squat. Okay. So that's one way that you could do your squat. Another way that I suggest doing that I really like this one is to hold on to something. So if you have like a staircase, you could use the banister. If you could do this at your kitchen sink and use your kitchen sink. So I'm gonna just see if I can turn the camera over here and show you what I mean. Okay, so I'm holding on, probably better if I hold the vertical part. And what I'm doing now is as I go into my squat, I'm keeping my body vertical and upright. That way it's easier to maintain a neutral spine for me. And when we have a neutral spine, it puts the least amount of torque, pressure, force on the lumbar spine, on the vertebrae there, and on our discs. Because normally when we're doing a squat, really hard to find that alignment for most people unless you've practiced this a lot, because the spine's coming kind of at this 45-degree angle. What I see most people do is they come way too far forward with their spine, which also puts a lot of pressure on the back. So that's why it's really nice to do it this way, where you can hold on to something and keep your body more upright, right? You're still working on ducky butt, not tucky butt. You want to think about tracking your knees right over the ankles, okay, and finding that alignment. And so one more thing we can add to that is activating the core as you do this exercise, right? So you're drawing the abdominal wall in as you come down. And what you want to feel is this wrapping front to back. Your transverse abdominis is a muscle that wraps around like a corset, pulls and draws everything in towards your spine. So you can feel the connection of that muscle working as you come down into your squat. The last thing I want to mention about the squat is that the glutes are working here only if you really are able to get them to work. So they don't always just work on their own right away in this exercise because the glutes are sleepy. They often need some support, some help to wake up. So the part of the squat, the phase of the exercise where you're coming up to stand is where you want to feel the glutes, right? You're coming down, here's your glutes, coming up. So you can even bring your hands there. I'm big on these tactile cues. Don't get shy to grab yourself in the butt and feel those muscles working as you come up. Okay, so that's another thing you can add to make sure the glutes are firing. So you've got the core working, glutes firing, and you're doing your hip hinging. Those are the three things I want you to think about when you are doing your squat. All right. Well, how did that feel for you? Those were 3 exercises, pretty simple to try. So go ahead and try those out on your own. Let me know how those feel for you. And if you want that PDF so that you can more easily follow along and remember these exercises, then just comment PDF below and I will go ahead and send that over to you. And that is all I have for you today. And like I said before, this is one little sliver, one little piece of my greater program where I get to do a deep dive with folks. We spend 4 months together. We meet once a week, and we also have a supportive Facebook community. It's a private community, so not the same one that you're watching this through here, but it's a private community. Just the people in that program are in that Facebook community. And we also have a course that goes along with the group program. And this is where, like I said before, we dive into all the 3 layers that might be the reason why your pain is not going away. When it comes to mind, body, spirit, we want to be able to identify, well, what is it for you? And what I've seen in my clients and for most people is that when they really have this supportive community of folks that they can work through this with, they can get that encouragement to really be focusing on a nourishing diet that feeds them from the inside out and really be supported to be kind of watching where those loops might be happening in the mind that kind of trip us up and keep us stuck in these same cycles. And also identifying some of these beliefs that we have in mind that aren't really true about ourselves, about our body, about our maybe athletic capabilities, our shape, our size, and all of these things. So we do a deep dive into this in my Thrive Beyond Pain program. So if you would like to learn more about that, I'd love to chat with you. I just do a complimentary Move Better call for folks that are in this group. So if you're interested in jumping on a call, and learning more about this, then go ahead and comment Thrive below, and I will go ahead and reach out to you. So that's all I have for you today. Let me know how these exercises felt in your body, and I will see you on the next live stream.